Okay, now that you have familiarized yourself with the basics of how React works, and you've learned all the concepts that are required, all the basic concepts that are required to build an application. You have built 2 applications already. So one of the most important things is a portfolio for a web developer or a front end developer. Portfolio is quite important. So when you're applying for jobs and everything, you need to have a portfolio for yourself, which shows your work, which tells who you are. And because you're a web developer, it should be on the web, it should be hosted. So what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a single page application that will focus on React only. There will be no backend. So we'll be building a single page application, also known as an SPA, and we will be building your portfolio there. So you have to code along with me, and we will do your portfolio together. And we have had the React introduction and everything. So now we'll basically be using React Router, the concept that I just taught. So we'll be using React Router to build this app. And so when you're loading content inline, things are a little challenging because there's no backend. Everything is done. So the hard part is not loading the content itself. That is quite easy. The hard part is making sure the single page apps behave in a way that is consistent with what your users are used to. More specifically, when you navigate your app, when a user navigates the app, the URL is displayed on the address bar always. And they can use the browser's buttons to go up and down, forward, wherever they can go to link, and they can navigate to a particular view, right? So let's go ahead and start off by creating our app. So go to your git bash. I've already opened my git bash, and right here I'm just going to make this big, and here I am going to desktop. And inside of desktop, I'm going to React apps folder, which I've created on the desktop. And inside of this, I am going to create a new create React app, that is npx create React app. And I'm going to name this portfolio. That will be your portfolio. So you'll be doing the same thing, and hit on enter. Okay, that might have taken some time, so I hope everything was installed. So that's npx create React app, and the name of your app will be portfolio. Now what I want you to go ahead and do is go to your Visual Studio Code, and inside the Visual Studio Code we will open up, and we will be opening the folder that we just installed. So that will be portfolio, that will be our app, and you will find it right here in your desktop React apps. So click on portfolio and select that folder. Now once you have selected that folder, it opens up with a welcome page, and you should check everything's there. Okay, so open the terminal right here, new terminal, and inside your new terminal, let's go ahead and start. So npm start. Once this is done, you can go to your Google Chrome and check. Yes, it's working perfectly fine. So your create React app is working perfectly fine. I'm going to close Git because that we're using the terminal right here. Now normally this is where we start messing around with deleting the existing content to start from a blank slate. We will do that, but first we are going to install React Router, which is quite important for routing purposes, which is going from one page to another, web page to another. Now we need to run this command. So you can say Control C, you can terminate it, and you can say npm I React Router -dom. I hope you can see this, and I'm going to say save, 2 hyphens and save. Now this will install React Router DOM, and we can use this. But let me tell you something about SPAs. Now, as I said earlier, the URL displayed in the address bar always reflects the thing that we are viewing. When we click on something, you can see in the browser what we are viewing. Then they can also use the browser's back and forward button successfully to the users. Now the users can also navigate to a particular view directly using the appropriate URL. Now this is with the multi-page apps. These things come for free. That is multi-page apps. This is a single page application. Now these PWAs, that is React, are known for SPAs. There is nothing extra you have to do for any of it. With single page applications, because you aren't navigating to an entirely new page, you have to do real work to deal with these three things that your users expect to just work, the three things I just said earlier. Now you need to ensure that navigating within your app adjusts the URL appropriately. You need to ensure your browser's history is properly synchronized with each navigation to allow the user to use the back and forward buttons. Now if your users bookmark a particular view or copy paste a URL to access later, you need to ensure that the single page app takes the user to the correct place. Now that's a lot of things that multi-page apps can do, but we are focusing on a single page application with no backend. So it's just very simple to do, but there's a lot of hard work. Now to deal with all this, you have a bucket full of techniques commonly known as routing that we just installed. Now routing is where you try to map URLs to the destinations and that aren't physical pages, such as the individual views in your single page application. Now we will be focusing on all of that. Now after this much is right now, for this much is enough. Now we can go to public, we can go to index.html, and here we can remove the comments. Let's just remove all the comments, and we can call the title not React app. We will call it as your portfolio, right? So portfolio. So that's in your public folder, index.html page. You can delete these comments. Just delete the comments, nothing else, and change the title to portfolio. Don't make any other changes. You may get an error. Now save this. We'll bring this a little down. Now here what we can do is we can go to the next one we can create. So we can close the public folder. In your source, right click, create a new file where we'll be creating a new component. That will not be creating a new component. This is where we will be creating a main page and then we will render it in our index. So let's call this as main.js. And here let's go back to index.js, and here we will not be rendering app, we will be rendering main. That's the component that we'll be rendering. And we can actually remove this, but you don't have to, you can just let it be. Save that, and anything else we'll have to create the main component. So go ahead to your main.js that you just created, and right here let's start off by importing React component from React. Now we'll be doing everything from scratch, so this will be a very good practice, and also we'll be creating a portfolio, so it's brilliant. Now this extends component. Now after this, let's render and return. Now here let's create a root div, and inside this let's say h1. We will make certain changes a little later, but firstly let's just do this. I'm going to give it a logo, so the logo can be my name. So Varun Venkatesh, and right after this I'll be creating a UL, and inside the UL I'm going to give it a class name which is equal to header. That's the class name that I'm giving. Now inside the UL let's create li, and let's first start off with anchor tags with href that will point to my home. It'll show you the difference. So then that will be home. Now I'm going to copy paste 3 of these. So these will be the 3 header pages. That will be the header on the top of your web app. So this will be about, and let's call this as about, and here let it be contacts. That's contact, and that will direct you to the contact page. Now we can also give div class name content. So right after the UL, let's give it a div class name is equal to content, and that will be closed right here. So we will export this default. Main. Now once you put this, take a look of what we have. To do that, we will be doing npm start, obviously. So right in your terminal, go ahead and say npm start. Okay, it throws an error, obviously. Save this, go to index.js. Here we have put main, but we have not imported it. So remove this and say import. We'll be importing the component main from main. So let's save it now. Should be working. Alright, so let's go see it here. This does not look all fancy and does not look styled and everything, but that's fine for now. We will deal with that a little later. Now the important thing is that we have not used React Router. We have not used anything. This does not look nice, and if React Router is not used, it's a big problem. Now creating our contents page, our app will have 3 pages of content. This content will be a simple component that print out some JSX. So let's just get those created and out of the way. Now let's create a home.js and then about and then contact. Then later let's make changes to the app. So go ahead and create. Go to your source, create new file. It will be called as home.js, and then comes about.js, and finally the contact page, so that will be contact.js. I'm sorry about this. Let me rename it. This should be contact. Alright. Now I can close index.html. I can resize this, close this. Alright, so let's go to home.js, and here I will be importing React component from React. Now I'm going to say class home extends component, and then render return. I'm going to give it a root div. For now I'm just going to say hello, this is my portfolio. Let's just give it some p. You can put whatever you want. It's your portfolio, so the content that goes inside it is all about you. So I don't know about you, so obviously you will be putting your own things. Now I'm just going to say I am a developer. We will change this a little later, and then right after this is done, Let's export it. Alright, so we'll import this once as soon as we finish our about and contact. So you can copy this, it will be the same format. You can copy the entire thing, go to your about, paste it, go to your contact and paste it, but make sure that you make the right changes. Right now I'm in about.js. You have to make these changes or else you will get errors. If you get confused by copy pasting it, just type it out. It'll just be practice. So that's okay. I'll be exporting this about, and I'm going to say this about me, and then you can put whatever you want. I am a developer from this particular city and this particular country, wherever you're from. What do you do? Who are you? Everything, all that you can put here. I will be making some changes to this. So I'll save this, go to contact. Similarly here I'll be changing the class name to contact. I'll be exporting contact, and right here I'm going to say contact me, and you can give your contact here saying this is my contact. I will be making changes, do not worry. So I'll be adding styles as well. Now once this is done, all this has been created, you can create more p tags if you want and more h2 or whatever it is, you can do that. Now once all this is done, we shall go back to our main.js. Now we have our app frame. This is our frame, and in the form of main component, then we have our content pages represented by home, about and contact components. Now what we need to do is tie all of these together to create our app. So in the beginning when I was explaining about components, I told you that there will be multiple components in a React application. We have to get all of these together to bring together to create our React app. And to start using it, you can go back to main.js right here, and we will be making some changes with import, so please follow up. Firstly, I'm going to say import. I'm going to open curly brackets, and I'm going to say route, comma, navlink, and then I'm going to import link. Now after this I'm going to import hash router. Now after hash router, from the React router DOM npm package that we installed, we will be also closing the tag. And where will we install it from? React router DOM. So from React router DOM. Alright, so that we have imported everything, we just need to use it. Now after this we need to import our home from, that would be home.js, and I'm just going to import contact component from the file. No, yeah, I'll be doing first, I'll be doing it about contact, about component from the contact, about, sorry about that, so it'll be about, and then I will be importing contact component from the contact file. Perfect. We have imported all of them, we've exported all of them. Now we just need to implement it. Now we are importing route, navlink, hash router and all that we installed earlier. In addition, we are importing home stuff, home and about and contact components. Now your navigation, the React router works is by defining what I call a routing region. Inside this region you will have two things, that is your navigation links, the container to load your content info. Now this is a close correlation between what URL your navigation links specify and the content that ultimately gets loaded. The first thing we are going to define is routing region. Now inside our main components render method, now we will add the following. Firstly, we will be making some changes. Firstly, I'm going to say, before return, I'm going to say hash router. I am going to enclose hash router inside of the entire thing. So here, let's put a colon, semicolon here. Now once this is done, the hash router component provides the foundation for the navigation and the browser history handling that routing is made up of. There will be a browser history, right? So that's what hash router does. It gives a hash value and you can look it up. What we are going to do next is define our navigation links. We already have list elements with a element defined. We need to replace them with more specialized nav links component. So just what we did before, we will be replacing with nav link. So go ahead, change all the A's to nav link. I'm going to copy this and I am going to paste them here. I'm trying to copy the entire thing. Okay, so I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to close all of them. Don't forget to make the respective changes or else you will be flooded with errors. Save this, and now for each link, pay attention to the URL we are telling our router to navigate to. Now this URL value defines to prop. So we are using href. We should make it to 2 and not href or href. Anything you want to call it. So it will be all equals to 2. Alright. So now the way we match the URL with the content is by the route component. So go ahead and add the following, whatever I am going to add. We will be giving the route to the path. So right after your UL and after your content, just before this div and inside of content, give the route. So that will make it easier for you. We don't have to make it will be all in one component. So this will be routed to home and the component will be equals to home. So I will tell you why we have given this div class name content and why this is in the header. I will show it to you in just a bit. Now I'm going to open another. I'm going to say route path is equal to about and component is equal to the about component that we have imported, about, home and contact that we imported. We will be using it right here. And the final and the last one will be route path is equal to the contact page and the component that we have imported, that will be contacts. Now once all of this is done, you can save it. There should be no errors. It says link is defined but not used. Yes, we have not used link yet. I will be using it in just a bit. You can go ahead now and see this will be your logo or your name, whatever you want to put. Now when you go to home, it says hello, this is my portfolio, I am a developer. When you go to about, okay, so we forgot to do one thing, that is give the exact path. So right here, just go and see exact, and for that what will happen is it won't show up over and over again. So now when you go to home, it will just be home, about and contact me. Obviously this doesn't look very nice. We will be adding some styling. We'll be adding CSS to this. Now what this does is basically goes to home, about and contact. You can see how it's changing and we have a hash. So what we want to do is when we click on the logo as well, it has to go to the home page. Now what I wanted to show you is when you go and inspect, or when you press F12, or you can go to the developer, here you can see that inside root, inside this is my logo, this is my header, and you remember that we gave a div content. So anything that we put in those particular components will come only inside the content class and not in the header. So these will be two different different things. These two will be two different things in your browser. So that will be easier to style and to space everything. Alright, now we'll go make those changes right away. Now here, what we'll be doing is we'll be adding CSS and everything and making it very pretty. We'll be making it, we can host it so that when people see it, you can also add another thing called portfolio where you can put whatever work you've done. But I won't be showing you that. That will be a homework for you. I want you to do that. I'll just be showing how to do your basic portfolio. So let's go ahead and style it.